All right, guys, here we are. Another day, another $100 worth of junk. We got a couple pit bike four-wheelers here. This one obviously needs a ton of parts, but this one supposedly runs. So we got, what did we do? We picked up a couple other $100 worth of scrap mini like pit bikes also, and we're going to turn them into a couple mini three-wheelers hopefully. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so earlier you saw the two quads that we picked up off a guy. What did we pay, $100, Tom?
Yeah.
This is $100. All right, so we got two quads for $100, right? And at first glance, you might be saying, "Hey, that's not that bad, you know. That could be a good quad." And you know what? You're right. At first glance, you would think that. But look at what we really got here. I mean, this thing has got a part of an engine, the whole clutch assembly cover, every side case is all missing, whatever. There's rust on it. It's been sitting outside a long time. We don't even know the condition of that engine. There's no gas tank. The plastics are all loose. The seat is off. The gauge cluster is all loose and everything. So somebody's kind of attacked this thing at some point and just kind of threw it back together to make it look complete. But it is what it is. What it is a great roller. I mean, it's got great plastics here, it's got a great seat, it's got good handlebars, it's got good tires, good rims. So we're gonna use it for just that. So we're not really tearing this thing apart. We're reusing 90% of what's here to make trike number 2, pit trike number 2. And I came up with a name for pit trike number 2. You will not understand why I'm calling it this, but hang with us, stay with us through this build, and you will find out. But pit trike number 2 is going to be the tribute trike. So tribute trike going to Mini Mayhem, along with Tom's ride, which you'll hear more about in just a little bit. So hang with us, we'll rip this thing apart, start mocking up pit trike number 2, the tribute trike.
All right, so we got this one all ripped apart, and we got the parts that we're saving, like the engine, the front wheels, and the rear swing arm. Got a good mess going on, and it's on to this one to tear this one apart the same way.
All right, so along with the quads that we picked up and the pit bike pile that you'll see later, or may have seen already, we got this little pit bike. This is some sort of Yamaha PW80 clone, and I believe it was a 70cc. You can see there's no top end on it. The rear shock is clearly blown out. The rear fender is practically on the rear tire, but everything else is in pretty good shape. I mean, you know, the frame is pretty much mint. It's got disc brakes and does it have disc brakes?
No, drum.
Yeah, it's got drum brakes. Okay. So it's got drum brakes, and you know, the pegs are here, the shifter's here, the handlebars are here, the gas tank is good. So the idea here is between the four-wheeler and this pit bike, we should have about 80% of what we need to build a pit trike. So probably use the four-wheeler rear fenders, the rear wheels and tires, one of the front tires up front. I think I might use Honda ATC 200X front triple tree, and we'll put some heavy duty forks into that triple tree to accommodate the wider front tire. We'll reuse this gas tank and hopefully reuse the seat that comes with the fenders on the quad. We should be in pretty good shape. So this will be pit trike number 2. And the first thing we're gonna do with this one is get these plastics and seat off of it, check out the shock situation, and probably address the engine, figure out what we're gonna do, whether we're gonna use this or one of the other engines we have, or down the road, throw a brand new 140 in it. So we'll see how it goes. So let's get to it.
All right, guys. So this is a pile of Chinese junk. As you already know, we've gotten, consists of a couple pit bikes that we picked up that were in pieces. We threw them up here, and one of the four-wheelers, and we're gonna be adding your other four-wheeler to this big pile. And we're gonna create something nice out of all this Chinese junk, because well, a lot of people see junk bikes and stuff and don't have an imagination to make it into stuff. So out of this pile of junk here, we're gonna create a really nice pit trike out of it, which is gonna be pit trike number 1, that I have decided to call it Project Find China, because it's starting off as a big huge pile of Chinese junk. So I thought that would be pretty catchy. And to most people, this is just a bunch of junk.
$100 worth of junk.
Well, $200 worth of junk, because it was, we picked up 2 junk Chinese quads for $100, and then we picked up 2 pit bikes in this unassembled mess. There is 2 pit bikes in here, even though it doesn't look like it. I think some of the other frame and wheels are over here from it. So yeah, plenty of projects to go.
And this rear end right here in the plastic you see is from the other quad that we already tore apart. So amongst the pit bike pile is quad number 1 as well.
All right, so what I'm doing here is taking this apart, taking these forks and triple trees off, because I got this way beefier set up here, and I got no clue if I can use this on this pit bike, because these are two completely different brand Chinese bikes. So just gonna see if we can't mash this together somehow, and hopefully this magically fits together.
I definitely like the inverted forks much better than the ones that are on there.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and these things are thin, cheesy.
Yep.
I'm a bigger guy, so I need the bigger suspension.
The lower portion of these other shocks is a little bit rusty, but I think that'll clean up with some Scotch-Brite. Hopefully.
Right? Probably should save all this Baron stuff, because that doesn't have anything on it.
Yep. Should slide out now, huh? Yep. Sweet.
I mean, that's looking pretty close.
It does. Definitely looks the same. Let's see.
That, and then I want to steal. Actually, I guess this would tell us right here, 'cause I want to steal this lower bearing cuff here. That sits right on that race.
Okay.
So this might actually work. Oh, awesome.
Plug and play.
Please be
Plug and play.
Please be plug and play. What are we hanging up on? No way. No way does this work. No way does this work.
Is the stem the same length?
Yeah, I think so.
Come on.
When does that happen?
No machining?
Dude. No way. I mean, I guess we can't really use... What was that supposed to go? Oh, that is the Baron cap.
Yeah, that's
So
what's
maybe
going
I
on
gotta-
there. You need to put that on first.
This needs to go on first. Getting ahead of myself, getting excited.
I know, right? Is it the same thread?
That'll be interesting.
Come on, baby.
Come on. No.
No.
It took a little bit to get it started.
Seriously. You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, I'm not sure what pit bike this is or what this one even is.
No, we don't even know. I was thinking maybe an SSR, but after looking at a bunch of photos, I'm not so sure anymore.
I can't get it down any further because of this bearing cap.
Is that right?
But that doesn't mean this thing's so thick. So what if I have to bore out this to make it drop down even further?
Right, right.
I'll just throw it in the mill and interpolate that to sit down further.
Now, the other forks, they did not have the top bearing cap with it. Is that right?
No, it's in here already. I just didn't take them out. The bearings are in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, this fork did not have a top bearing cap with it. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
you can do some type of modification here.
Yeah, that should be easy enough. Like you said, just bore it out to clear that bearing cap, and then you can put the top bolt and washer on, and we're good, right?
Because I mean, if you look at how thick this is, look how much material is there.
Oh, you got plenty.
I mean, I can even take this and recess this to expose more thread.
Yep.
So
That's
either
true.
or.
Yep.
So we can get this to work out.
Awesome.
fine.
Excellent.
That's exciting.
Okay, cool.
All right, awesome.
Since I'm using the wheels and tires off the quad, the Helix quad, this is the hub that was on the rear of the quad, but I'm not using the rear axle. And this is a splined hub. Since I'm going to be using a 1-inch keyed axle shaft in the rear, so I measured the bolt pattern here. So the bolt pattern on this is 4 on 110 millimeters. And what I have are some brake rotors for 1-inch keyed shaft, which fit right on my axle. So what I'm going to do is transfer a 4-bolt pattern onto the brake rotor and use these as hubs. So I've gone ahead and already marked approximately where those holes are going to end up, and I'll go put this in the mill, and I will indicate the center of the hub, and then we'll do a bolt hole pattern 4 on 110, and we'll have a couple of wheel hubs. So let's head over to the mill and get that taken care of. All right, so we got these brake rotors slash hubs all drilled out. This is the original splined hub, and we're gonna go ahead and use these keyed hubs to fit on the new axle, and you can see that the holes all line up just like the original hub. So we will now be able to, well, let's turn that line. You can't see it very well on this side. I'll flip it over so you can see that these also line right up. So there's the 4 holes in line. So new wheel hubs for the new axle shaft. Put some through bolts, 10mm bolts and nuts, and we're good to go. All right, so here's where the arc rod really shines. I've got this swing arm, and we're modifying this for a trike. And in order to do that, I need to weld on 2 flanges that I've made that look like this, but they need to go here. And we got this in the way, we got this in the way. So you can't do that. So I made this cardboard template of the flange that I made, and I've cut it out so that it actually fits in here exactly where I need it. And now I've gone ahead and taken the cardboard, put it back on the part, and traced out these spots. So here we go. And now I'm just gonna take this over to the arc droid. We're gonna use simple trace to follow this really odd shape, and the plasma machine is gonna cut it for me, which is something I could never really do accurately on a 2-axis milling machine. All right, so here you'll be able to see the simple trace feature of the machine that I just traced out the marked lines on the product. And it's going to cut right over to the start point, and it follows right around. Okay, got the torch in place. Gonna go ahead and fire it up and make some sparks. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch this simple trace head over for the torch, and we'll throw it back in. Okay, people, so I think it's time that we pull this motor off so that we can put on a new head, get the engine running, and when we have that out, we'll be able to clean and paint the frame and get ready for partial reassembly of the bike. So let's get right to it, get that motor off, and we'll be back with you. Okay, so the original engine is out. As always, it was a little bit more of a fight than I expected, but that's typical. And I got it here on the floor, and I just threw the jug and the head back on the studs to carry it in to work on it. So I have 3 other pit bike engines I'll use, and looking at them, we've got a 70cc on the left, a 125 in the middle, and a 90 on the end. The 90 is electric start. The 125 and the 70, they're both kickstart. The 125 and the 70, surprisingly, are both manual clutch. The 90 over here is semi-auto. So I thought about using one of these engines, preferably the 125, the biggest of the 3. But you can see, just looking at these engines, they're quite different. I mean, the 125 is quite larger. And I haven't really checked it out yet, but a lot of people just claim, oh, you know, 50, 70, 110, 125, 190, whatever, they're all the same. No, they really aren't. And it might be a bit difficult to put one of these other engines in this frame without cutting, modding, welding, and so on and so forth, which I can certainly do, but do I have time to do it for the next event? Probably not. So I believe I'm gonna go back with plan A, and I'm gonna take and put a new head and jug on this original engine, which is a 90cc that came off this bike. So I'll go ahead and bring this in. I'm gonna clean it up a bit, get working to putting the head on, and we can hopefully get some spark out of it and have it ready to go back in. All right, so I'm about to power wash this frame, which I should have done before I started all this, but you can see it's pretty grimy, pretty nasty. So go ahead and get all this grime off, and then I can start prepping it for paint. Let's get it going. So the frame's completely disassembled now. Got all the nuts and bolts out, all the rubber pieces off, swing arm separated from the frame, as well as foot peg assembly. Foot peg assembly is the only place I have some issues because looks like it was crashed at some point. The brake lever is bent in, which needs to come back. And this peg over here is also bent out of position. This one actually is pretty close to where it should be, folds up properly. So I'm gonna have to heat that up, bend those back, and we'll be fine. But I'm going to just scuff down the frame, and that'll be ready for a coat of paint. All right, just finished machining these headlight brackets for the mini trike. I've already cleaned them up, and I'm going to lay down some primer, and then can get some red paint on them to match the frame. Let's get to it. Okay, got the frame all prepped for some primer, scuffed up. Didn't take all the paint all the way down because it wasn't peeling or flaking, so just scuffed it up. And we're gonna put some primer on it, and then we can get the red laid down. All right, let's get it started.